Yes?
Again? I can't believe this shit.
He might be wearing a disguise.
Yes, it's a hobby of mine.
As if waiting for some kind of reaction or response. Something to click. It's not happening though. Who is this guy?
Yes? What is it? That was pretty good, Harry. Wasn't it, Jean?
Whoa, how does she know your name? She probably heard it from somewhere. You have to be more careful, karaoke star. Names are dangerous.
That was absolute shit, if you want my opinion. Drunken shit. Haven't wanted anything to end this badly since I had cluster headaches. Horrible. Truly horrible. I beg of you, don't ever subject anyone to this torture again. I mean, seriously, you need to...
Jean, it's not right. Don't make it worse, and I really liked it.
She actually did.
Yes, I called you by your name. What about it? God, everybody knows your name. Please go finish your investigation, so everyone can go home.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
As she says the word officer, you feel a spike in the agony. It sounds like the entire radio frequency range is screaming directly into your neural pathways. That's an awful decision. Why would you not want to shield yourself from it? It's an entirely new type of experience. Way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
No, I'm not going to fucking kill you. If that had been my plan, you'd be dead already. All things considered, I'm being pretty reasonable here. I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing is the ULAN frequency, blasted from that pale emitter that Pangus mentioned.
Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She likes telling you about the machine. Keep her talking. Look for an opportunity to break loose.
Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. I built it myself.
And she's proud of it too, as she ought to be. This is way beyond your abilities.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah, way beyond. No, once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not cops, and of herself merely as prey.
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise.
You're looking for a deal with my mattress. Turn this.
God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
The gun she's carrying is a two-barreled front loader, not like the murder weapon. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but you can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. There's only 3 meters between you and the machine. If you keep her distracted for long enough, maybe. Be careful when you make your move. That'll be it for questions. Bide your time.
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised.
Her tone is bitter. She thinks she's been betrayed.
So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find in my back. I was, before I caught you in the pale latitude compressor. I'm fine now.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit.
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Oh, I knew the kitten had claws, but not like this. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me? Oh, fuck. Took some convincing my ass. Those guys liked me, I know it. But this is what happens to people whom people like.
A dull despair is creeping into her voice.
How the fuck did the rest of you get by? I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same.
That did make her forgive them. A little.
Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types. Plenty of broken people who don't come with that kind of body count. Besides, they're paid well for what they do. Yeah, sure. And I didn't like Wild Pines sending in those foreign hirelings. Me and a fuck ton of other people around here.
She didn't hate him, okay?
I'm listening. Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon me. Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time. Wow, now I'm curious. Please, explain. No, not since I was 14 and hanging out in the only diner in Dardun. Haven't been into low-risk, no-reward games since moving to the city. Why? Yeah, and probably some ghosts from the time of the suzerain. I'm not really interested in supernatural mysteries. Not murder mysteries either, if that's what you're thinking.
She looks you in the eye impassively, making it clear that she's not planning to comment on the matter any further.
The fuck do elevators have to do with anything? Not particularly. Why are you so hung up on elevators?
That's a pretty good question, actually. She clearly doesn't know anything about the secret passage.
I'm not really into old shit for old shit's sake.
God damn it!
So you know she's not an antiques enthusiast. Not my jurisdiction, man. But it also doesn't sound like she used that secret route at all.
Don't know it, but also...
Evaluating your competence as a police officer.
The shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
And? The gun store. Trigger Happy Jacks. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. Sure don't.
A breech loader?
No.
This is such a wipeout.
A Nachtway 80 front loader. Two-barreled. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing.
That isn't it.
Never really got into weapons trafficking. Especially not old weapons. They break too often, and you don't want unhappy customers among gun collectors. Yeah, evidence. Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Claudia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna. The view's pretty bomb, too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Claudia. It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival. Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar. No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style. So now I'm leaving revolutionary symbols around? Come on. I never did understand why, when someone dies, a hothouse's worth of flowers has to die too. No, I did not. So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician.
That really comes as a blow to her.
Okay, great. You got into my lorry on your own. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking?
Beneath it, she's relieved Tommy didn't betray her.
Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the Union.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum.
There. It's going to be easier to reach the machine now.
Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum. Yeah? Where? How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Claudia's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while.
She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Claudia comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her. Oh yeah, super. But I didn't think too much of it at first. I'd seen her party hard before. No, I really didn't. She's not that easy to read. I just assumed she'd done too much blow. It wouldn't be a first for her. But no such luck. She was in some deep shit. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea. Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy boys.
Glacia knew exactly what she was doing. You can't remain calm under pressure otherwise. She lied to you about that, too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed. As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried this lynching might lead to...
War? The thought crossed my mind. but the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going...
She doesn't want to talk about this, but not because she has something to hide. She doesn't want the guilt.
Fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me. I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
So this is what she was scared to tell Titus. This cop.
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell. And why me? You hear through the white noise. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Everyone in Jamrock, the cops, the criminals, why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to La Puta Madre.
So she knows your name. That doesn't mean you're on the tape. Criminals make up bogeyman stories about cops all the time.
Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both. Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough. You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus.
you. Wait, one thing. Possibly small, but she said you rolled into town. Was that you singular or plural? She might know something.
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway? Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either. One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right?
No idea who these people are, literally.
Well, this has been a great talk, really. But I think I'm going to hit the road now.
She means it. You better make your move soon.
What bunker? Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp. But I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
You did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but...
All good, officer. Be careful.
She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it. Problem solving.
Ma'am, put the gun down. That's not the solution to your problems. You are...
Oh, yes it is.
You should know the words to say. You've been here yourself. So why is it not coming to you? Because you've misread the situation from the beginning. And now her finger squeezes the trigger. A smirk crosses her face as she watches you stand there, mute. Then she exhales sharply, shakes her head, and pulls the trigger. You watch as her brains trickle out through her neon hair.
Fuck.
Get a hold of yourself. He needs your support now, too.
Lieutenant Yefreitor Dubois, control your emotions. We did our job. This won't be the worst thing that happens on this case, believe me. You can't let this break you.
There is no coming back from this one. It will stay with you in nightmares.
We clean up. It may take days for processing to pick up her body. We need to move it somewhere. That tent there.
The plain red tent stands by dispassionately. You see a rolled-up sleeping bag and personal belongings.
We should put her in the sleeping bag, so the rats don't get to her.
The lieutenant nods. There she lies, cocooned in the sleeping bag, surrounded by empty cigarette packs, books, and half-read magazines. Magazines? You should look through them. Assorted soft covers, mostly pulp horror. A motor carriage lies buried in the snow on one cover. On another, a ghost airship. You also see a collection of radio enthusiast magazines.
See anything?
Rager Monthly, Journal of Material Science. More Technological Digest. One of the magazines doesn't have images on the cover. It's not a magazine, it's a leather notebook. You pocket the worn brown leather journal. She watches by, motionless.
We should read this immediately, like right now.
The plain red tent rests stoically in the corner. Ruby's dead body is wrapped in her sleeping bag. Thick journal. The cover is worn like someone used to carry it around in their back pocket. It's made of full-grain leather. The lower left corner of the back cover sports an embossed brand name, Schneller. This was important to her when it was still hers. The journal falls open. About 2/3 of its ruled pages have been filled. The large cursive of someone who writes quickly and confidently. Perhaps too confidently. Many phrases and even paragraphs have been crossed out, with tiny corrections scrawled above and in the margins. It's a mix of logistical notes, diagrams, and personal reflections, all dated.
We could learn a lot from this.
Hard to tell exactly. It's mostly noted down in code. Looks like contact information, quantities, directions.
There could be useful information about local operations in those notes. We have a junior sergeant at my station who's good with codes. I can give this to her after we finish this.
Professionalism is his coping mechanism. Esoteric radio technology. The most recent ones probably pertain to the latitude compressor, sketches, calculations of distance and density. You make out a familiar spiral shape. Short, wry observations of people and places, probably a way to pass the time on the road. Also, what appears to be attempts to sort through some difficult decisions. There are a few passages with many questions in them. The way some of those question marks trail off into ellipsis, she was going through a tough time. The first entry is from August 2nd of last year. It reads simply, I know my position is precarious. All I can do is make myself as useful as I can while looking for a way out. Remember, no one is indispensable. Nothing on March 4th. March 5th, though, well, that's bound to come back and bite me in the ass. I'm bad at this. Loyal to a fault. But that's another matter entirely. You have no idea what she means. These are personal notes. Don't expect to understand all of it. That name isn't mentioned as far as you can tell. Small wonder. Would you talk about La Puta Madre in your journal? You do see an M though. La Puta Madre. M is mentioned on March 9th and March 15th. Great. M's peon is coming to town, no doubt to investigate the lynching. But also, I feel it in my gut to finally put a bullet in my head while I'm napping in my lorry or on a smoke break. Well, I won't stick around just to twist my own neck by constantly looking over my shoulder. Then again, isn't that what I've been doing ever since I got the call? The call? Did M call her personally? Why? Things played out just as she had feared, except you didn't shoot her. Maybe it's the old you, or maybe she was just paranoid. No, not even the old you. No you would do that. Been holed up here for 3 days now. I'm used to being alone and all, but I don't know when I'll be able to leave, or if I'll be ratted out. They will rat me out, of course. I've made it a point to believe in the best in people, the boys, for example. But experience tells me, did M feel truly betrayed by me? I was feeling threatened. He'd have to know if he threatened people, they'd take measures to protect themselves. Even I know that. Economic measures first of all. Gotta make a living, right? I can still hear his voice in the receiver. Taste the plastic. The entry ends abruptly. The most recent entry is from today. It reads, even when I leave here, if I leave here alive, what's my next move? Staging a lynching is a crime, even if I'm not accused of murder on top of that. Forever on the run. Not really my idea of the open road. Man, I was really looking forward to winning.
I don't think she killed the mercenary. It looks like she might have been framed.
Don't get emotional.
She was in plenty of trouble, even without the murder charge. Still, it's a nasty business. No, I don't think you are. Ask someone in your precinct if you want to be sure.
He truly does not believe you are. Perhaps he shouldn't be so trusting. His trust is well placed. You aren't. You can feel it.
Could have been Titus. Then again... Maybe there's a Hardy boy we've yet to meet, who acted as his accomplice. Either way, we need to keep an eye on him. One thing is for certain. We have business back in the whirling in rags. Questions to ask. We should get to it.
Our tenant, the policeman.
Stop. Just up ahead. Danger. What you have isn't enough. You'll need more firepower. A ranged weapon. Your Kvalson KR2 multi-tool looks impressive, shining in the cold spring light. But what can it do against military-grade weaponry? Be prepared. Make sure you have your pepper box in your hand. Your fingers reflexively reach for the Villiers 9mm pistol in your pocket.
Then you'd better get ready. Whatever happens, I've got your back.
Holding the gun feels natural and satisfying. It's like an extension of your arm, the polished wooden handle almost fusing into your palm. It reminds you of the day you first held it, with fear and respect, hoping you don't have to use it in vain. The sun was out in Jamrock. It was so long ago. Sheathe your sidearm, officer. A serious law official, cop by the book, should know to only unholster their service weapon when using it is unavoidable.
Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs, Koopy Vegeta, Gunrunner, Water and Bat. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/HoldenGatsby, follow me on Twitter @HoldenGatsby, and follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/HoldenGatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my channels. Thanks for watching, bye.